One is we wanted to improve the energy efficiency for Hapuna park itself. So we'll be putting in PV panels on certain facilities throughout the park. On the Mauka side, there'll be PV panels on top of this dining hall. There'll be PV panels on the two A-frame bathrooms to provide solar water heating. There'll be an array of PV panels on our maintenance base yard. And there'll be PV panels on top of the north comfort station and the south comfort station. So the additional panels would help us augment the energy costs that Hawaii District has been incurring. And we added the solar water heating as an amenity for the campers or the cabin renters here. At least, at least that amenity that we can provide. So that is happening, and also most of the improvements that we'll be doing, which will be starting early next year, is going to be on this side. So in addition to the PV panels we'll be putting in, we'll be doing renovations to this dining hall. So the major thing is, I know you guys like all this beautiful lighting we have. Sorry, we're going to have to replace them. We're doing some drainage improvements, so our staff can pretty much, when they clean up this floor area, have someplace for the water to go. Dust screens on this side to prevent at least dust falling in. Kitchen will have a makeover. New countertops, new appliances. This wall storage area will all pop out, the open storage area with pretty much racks and other types of things that our cabin renters can use. There will be right outside, there's a pathway going down to that bathroom. We'll have an accessible barbecue there. So as far as the other bathroom, which has men's and women's showers and toilets and stuff, we'll be completely redoing the insides to meet accessibility, current accessibility requirements, and improving the plumbing and those types of infrastructure to help our staff better maintain the facilities. So that is something that will be happening. What we have planned is what you see taped on top of the tables. And we had kind of talked about it last year. Just kind of give you an update. The basic plan is still the same. As far as for the Makai section, we will be making improvements from the parking lot all the way down to the walkways and all the major facilities. Just to highlight it, as far as for the walkways, the Makai walkway currently that goes along by the beach side, we'll be replacing that, which is a combination of asphalt, concrete, pavement, and crack-up dirt and rocks. We'll be replacing that with concrete. So there'll be a combination pathway, emergency road for the first responders to access when they need to. That is one of the major things we're going to be doing. Up at the overflow parking lot, as you come in, not the main, but the one that goes higher up, we'll be kind of redoing that to optimize the space. Right now there's a lot of wasted space there. So we'll be kind of restriping, taking down all the street lights. Concept for Hapuna, as far as the Makai side, it's a day use area. So we really do not need any street lights on that side. Mauka side, cabins, so more 24/7 type of, so we need lighting and such. So Hapuna, Makai, to the extent that we can, keep it basically a day use area. As far as for the other things we'll be doing is pretty much renovating all 3 bathrooms, fixing them up, changing the plumbing to help our park staff to help maintain the facilities, new fixtures. The pavilions will be doing roofing improvements, replacements, and replacing our barbecue facilities that service those 2 respective pavilion areas. We will be putting in some new showers. There will be a new rinsing shower pretty much about less than halfway down by where, if folks remember the old water fountain that hasn't worked for years, Yeah, we'll be taking that out, we're using that water line to put a rinsing shower on the Makai side that flows into the Mauka. There'll be several foot showers located along the Makai side, and there will be a foot shower up here by the upper comfort station to provide at least that amenity or that convenience to our park users. We will be having, August meeting we had last year, a question came up, hey, can't you guys put bike racks? So we looked at where would be appropriate bike racks we'll be putting in the upper parking lot. Is probably the best and safest place where we can put that. The other things that we're going to be doing is a lot of the infrastructure stuff with the facilities, pathway improvements, pathways that we did not already address. We will definitely address those. Those are those little sections by the concession building leading down to the Makai pathways. We will be constructing new pathways and stairway facilities from that upper parking lot that I was just talking about to make it, I guess, meet accessible standards. So we will need to pretty much take out the bus up, asphalt, gravel, dirt, little pathway and replace it with a bona fide pathway with stairs to meet that side. So the Makai side, we do have a lot of improvements being designed out currently, and we anticipate that, I guess, with the design and permitting, maybe we can try and shoot for design being completed by late next year, depending on how our permitting process will be going. Now that's for the Makai side. The Mauka side, what we'll be doing in this particular project would be pretty much repaving and reconstructing the entry road and this parking area over here, and putting in a gravel overflow parking kind of closer to where the cluster cabins are, to provide that convenience to our renters or park users. And now, the last part of what we're planning is over at the Wailea side. Wailea side, we're going to be buffing out, renovating the comfort station, and also we'll be replacing, or at least to an extent, renovating or repairing the showers that we have there, the rinsing showers. And the new feature we'll be doing is we'll be putting in a pathway stairway. Kind of like, if you come out from the shower, the pathway kind of jogs. And a lot of people, people naturally walk like that, And nobody walks this way. Everybody walks that way. So what had happened was because of some of the water overflow from the showers, you guys remember previous years, that place got muddy, boggy, but people still walk down. So what the Hapuna staff had did recently is pretty much kind of fix up to I guess, redirect the water from falling into that area, but we still wanted to provide a bypass, so to say. So we'll be constructing, I guess, a series of stairs and ramps and paths going down to that section. So that will be what we're doing at the Wailea side. So what I wanted to kind of reiterate the balance part, we try to pretty much fix up what we need to fix up with our existing facilities. So the balance part is our existing stuff. And now, we've got to balance out with new opportunities. And one of them, segueing into the next topic, would be Coco Road. I know the last time we had talked about working really hard with the county in trying to see if we can obtain Coco Road. And for the reasons that we had expressed, last time, same thing holds true. Basically, state properties, with the exception of private lots, state park land, but you got a county piece of roadway property traversing, bisecting into our park. It's okay, but in the long run, there's several issues of maintenance, who should be maintaining and who should be fixing that up, 1. 2, well, if you don't own the roadway, but you do want to put security, safety barriers, can't really do it on our own accord. So if we were to at least have that portion that bisect and traverses and have at least that area as a contiguous state park unit. That would provide Hawaii District state parks with a lot more options in trying to manage areas currently that are being either misused and abused. This morning, forgive me for not changing what is this morning, but it's kind of walking on the Makai side. And I think last year, folks were telling us the extensive cleanups that you folks had done and helped us out with, taking rubbish, greenways and stuff out. And, this whole place is just pretty much a collection of stockpiles of stuff through the ages. I think through the carbon test we can kind of, 1970, 1980, 1990, 2000. But, the point is that if we do have at least a contiguous park area, at least state parks will, I guess, have more options in trying to work on how to manage areas in which, balance again, areas that we need to secure down, but also balancing with, I guess, the users of the areas more so on the Makai side. So that's where the local discussion, and you guys have opened our eyes on it. Last year we came to you folks and said, you know what, we're going to just repave the section that was not paved. And I think everything will be good. And then, ding, 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 ding. You guys had, informed us, hey, wait a minute, slow down. There is a lot more implications to just having a nice smooth road. Blind spots, speeding. We got mixed use, bikers, hikers, walkers, cars, slow cars, fast cars. So that's something in which I think we're looking at you folks as far as help in trying to, what will be the best options that we can. We still feel that we need to do something with the roadway because after a certain section, it's pretty bad. And and for better or for worse, we need to make some improvements, albeit we need to put in balance again. How do we balance improvements with what is appropriate and safe?
Since all the shower trees came down, it looks very sad to me. And so I was trying to say maybe where that big hill is that once had vegetation, doing some kind of, vegetation or with rocks or beautiful rocks or something that is attractive when you get there. And then the other thing I talked about was security. And the sense is still that if you come here to the park, your possessions in your car are not safe. And that is the impression at the hotels. And so I think with these new gates and all that, but somehow so that people feel there's some kind of patrolling and not giving visitors the impression they shouldn't come to the gem that we have here because, they might be vandalized or their cars broken into. And then the last thing, which I didn't bring up, is sort of the issue of homelessness and to what extent that's going on here and where we're going to deal with that. So those were a few of mine.
And after you brought up that part about the vandalism in the cars, I checked with Andrew and Luisa, and they said probably over the last 2 years, there's only been like a handful of times, handful of incidents, you said. Yeah. And a lot has to do with manned, fee station, fee booth there, and just the fact that every car that passes, there's somebody that has seen you pass through. So that tends to kind of slow that down. But and there's been a rash of break-ins throughout the state at various, parks and things like that. But one of the things that we'd like to stress is don't make yourself a target. Don't leave your valuables out, out on your sidewalks. I think a few of the incidences that were related as far as theft where people would leave things on the top of their car. And sometimes people come and leave their luggage up there, or I think there's an incident somebody left their radio outside on the ground and that disappeared. But those are kind of hard to always police and monitor, but if we do have patrols, going around and things, that'll definitely help.
Is there any consideration to make a flat fee for everybody? Because I think it's really hurtful or discriminating against our guests who already pay 12.5% to stay at the hotels, to be once again reminded that you're really not wanted. And that's the feeling you get when you go through and you're not a resident and that you therefore have to pay.
It's gonna help me out, but right now we're allowed by our rules and everything. We are allowed to charge visitors, but not residents, right? And is that something that we need to have a rule change, or is that?
I think the residents works.
I know, but
I think that issue always gets debated, and a lot of visitors, if you travel now around the world, you have to pay to use parks, and you have to pay to, like, if you go to Bali, you have to pay for temples. You never used to pay for temples. So it's becoming more and more common for travelers to know they have to pay. You think people think it's unfriendly. I'm not sure. I think there is the visitor. You might want to talk to Hawaii Tourism Authority. They actually have a guy and I've seen him now for 3 or 4 years. He actually interviews and surveys tourists before they leave the airport, and they ask questions.
And so it'd really be nice to, and they did a great job. They just fixed the wrong culvert. So, but it's a great job because you've got a huge settling area that can help maintain the water quality. If it goes in the right place, but now it's been channelized.
Getting back to your larger point about drainage improvement, basically you're identifying we probably need to address some kind of drainage or assess the drainage for the area. And what's interesting about this park is that, the landscape of this area, they are, I would say, maybe about 4 or 5 very pronounced gulches, gullies.
Yep.
The low points, so you know that everything coming from Mauka would make its way down. So I guess for me, my concern would be, okay, the natural course, when everything wasn't as hardened, those were probably the natural passageway of the mountain, Mauka runoffs to the ocean. You accelerate that with hardened, channelized surfaces, okay, fine. You accelerate the amount of water, the volume, and especially you create these incidences when you do have these severe weather incidences that come up. So a man-made improvement to help people out kind of exasperated some of the other things down the road. Something we need to look into. And it has been becoming, pretty much a challenge for, Dean Lewis and Andrew folks, especially within the last 5 years when the weather incidences have been extreme in certain times. Especially the south side area, wash out, build back up, wash out, build back up. From a facility development standpoint, you kind of blow your mind. So what do? We fix them or we don't fix them? Fix them or not fix them? But, the larger question is, okay, if we can't do nothing about the Queen K happening, that's already happened, so what can we do about stuff that will be coming down? And I think we have enough land area here, balance again. As far as balancing out, I guess, how do we be responsible stewards? But then again, how do we balance that out in increasing our recreational opportunities and other types of cultural opportunities? So it comes down to that. I would be all for spending $10–20 million on drainage improvements as we kind of strive to improve whatever we have now and try to maintain that standard in improving the other unused areas. What's the best way of doing that? Drainage has now have to be part of the considerations as far as either basins. Yeah. We really don't want to introduce more of the Mauka waters and runoffs into the oceans. With the beautiful waters we have over here. So that's another thing we're going to have to try and figure out. And it will be an engineering and a scientific type of, collaboration as far as, it can be done, but what's going to be the best way? And also with the cultural perspective as far as back in the day, how things were observed and how things were supposed to be going. So once again, balancing out stuff that we need to do in a way that, you know, we should be doing them, yeah.
You know, white sand beaches on Oahu are right around the whole island. I couldn't understand when I first moved here why this was so special. I thought it was just a white sand beach, and I saw so many of them. But after having lived here for a bit, I realized how special it is, you know, and how important this beach is to the whole island. In terms of many different ways. I live on the Hilo side. A lot of people that I know and I've met and friends and things, they come out here to dry up. You know, because it's so wet out there that, you know, they need a time to kind of get that moisture out of them. Andrew came from Hilo side, and he loves it out here. And I always threaten on moving him back. No. And so, you know, the value of this place, it really is, and it is our responsibility to take care of that. Kind of going back to the landscaping portion too. And I appreciate that, you know, you're not saying for us to put hedges and bushes and, you know, all this type of thing, because that would be pretty impractical, you know, for us. Whenever Russell, Steve, they suggest things, hey, why don't we do this? I'm always looking at, okay, how do we maintain that once it's built? You know, once something is installed, okay, what is the care that's going to be going into it? You know, what does Andrew have to do to take care and maintain the look of that area? And so I know with Luisa, their area around here on the cabins, if you folks how many of you folks have stayed in our cabins? It gets dusty and windy, you know, at times, and you know, that's something that we want to address, because that takes away from just, you know, the comfort and the pleasure of being there. And so, you know, that's something we want to do, but we have to be careful. We don't want to plant a whole lawn out here. I mean, it would be nice, I guess, if we could do that. But we are looking more at a xeriscape type of approach, but we still want to have some greenery. You know, we do want to still have some flora out there.
The best thing about this park is when this is, you got to realize, paying $5 to come to one of the top 10 beaches in the world. You know, that's what this is. Hapuna is one of the top 10 beaches in the world. So people that come around here, and you walk down there, and you get out of the car, and you get on top of that hill, and you walk down there, and it's just that, you know, when that lawn's just beautifully green and everything else, $5 is not enough. You could get, you know. I mean, it's just a beautiful, it's just such a beautiful thing that we have here, and we got to take care of it and groom it for what it is. And the cabins and all this is a great place for meetings. I didn't realize how good it was. I'm so appreciative of this, what is going on. The other big thing is having those gates open during the winter when the surf season comes, because there's a ton of people that go surfing out there. If those gates are closed, you know, then you go into vandalism and everything else, and then they'll be down where I like to surf at Pontiac. A little bit, but those are just a couple of the things. And I mean, there's ways of working that out, opening the gates so, you know, some of us can, that live down here can do that on certain days and stuff. So I mean, that's an easy way to.
And, you know, and this is a good example of why we want to have meetings like this. You know, because people come with solutions. They don't come only to grumble about things, and, you know, even your offer to meet about where the gulches are and how, you know, things run. That's why we want to meet, and that's why we want to hear what you folks have to say. And we want to do it early enough, because, you know, this road thing, yeah, okay, the county's already to give it to us, but as far as implementing the exact plan on what we're going to do, you know, we're still open. And we want to come to you while we're still open, so that we haven't already decided, oh, this is what we're going to do, and you know, you folks come in with a better idea, then, you know, we have to redo it, or, you know, we can see how we can incorporate whatever you have to offer us. And so, you know, I really appreciate that.